Oh, hey there, audit and fraud, friends and family. Listen, um, got a question for you. Think about the last time you went on a long vacation. You know, you're leaving your house, your car, maybe even your pets. Who'd you give your keys to watch over your house? I mean, because you probably gave them to somebody that you trust implicitly, like a sibling, if you actually like your siblings, or maybe a best friend. Hopefully, you do like your best friend, or maybe a neighbor that you've known for decades because you trust them. You trust that they're going to keep the lights on. You trust that they're going to make sure that nothing breaks. You don't expect to come home to find out that they've repainted your kitchen or maybe built a pool in the backyard, right? Because there's some level of trust that we have to have in our life. But what happens when the person that you trust the most, or the person that you trust with your most valuable asset, turns on you? That's what we're going to talk about today, because you want to stick around and listen to this one, because again, I know I say this every week, but man, this one is real crazy. They just get crazier and crazier, right? Are you ready? Let's go.
Welcome to the Friday Fraudster podcast. Join them as they discuss sad, funny, and sometimes disturbing fraud stories. Be sure to catch past episodes on your favorite podcasting platform or go to www.fridayfraudster.com.
Man, that intro has a little bit of bass to it now, doesn't it? I was just sitting here jamming out. Okay, listen, you heard the intro, but here's what I want to ask you all. Who do you trust with your most valuable asset or assets? So if you're going out of town, who do you leave your keys with? If you need somebody to pick up your car because you're doing something, who do you let do that? Who do you trust enough with your most valuable assets? And with that said, let's just bring them up. Ladies first. Stephanie, who are you? Tell the folks who you are.
Who am I? I'm Stephanie
Yeah.
Baumert. I work in anti-money laundering investigations for about 5 years now. Banking for another four on top of that. So
Thomas, what about you, man? Who are you?
I don't even know anymore. Thomas Mullenix. I own Revision Management Consulting, and I'm also partners with that audit guy. We're a 21st Century Audit.
And I'm your host, Robert Berry. And together we're here to talk about something that's just, you know what? I'm not gonna beat around the bush too much this week, because I know I say this all the time, but this one was just real crazy. I was I don't know, it was like a roller coaster ride. Cause think about it. And you guys, you'll figure it out in a minute when we tell you the full story, but they trusted someone with their most valuable asset. So back to the question I asked earlier. Stephanie, your most valuable asset, who do you trust it to?
my husband. I don't
Okay.
even know if I trust my kids, so it really depends. Depends on the
Wait, you
day.
do like your kids though, don't you?
Well, I love my kids. I don't always like them.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So Mark is here. Mark, who do you trust your most valuable assets to, my friend? If you don't have anybody you trust, Mark, you can trust me. So, and and Kimberly is here. Kimberly, who do you trust your most valuable assets to? Okay, Thomas, who do you trust your most valuable assets to?
Yep, my wife. Sometimes my kids, well, especially since my son drives my daughter a lot of places now. So I guess I trust both of them, together. But yeah, the usual suspects.
Okay. So I'm gonna dig a little deeper now. Outside of spouses and children, who next? Who's next on the down the line for you?
For me, it's you.
Maybe your bank, your financial advisor.
Wait, people have financial advisors?
I mean, I don't. I'm not that fancy, but
Well, I was about to say people have finances. Aren't we in a recession? Mark says his two best friends of over 25 years or his kids, and that's it. Wait a minute, Mark. Now I've known you almost 20 years now, I think.
But you haven't known him 25 years, so that's
Oh,
the
there we
line.
go. There we go. That's the threshold. It's actually I'm trying to think. I think I first met Mark in the early 2000s. I think may have even been the late 90s, if I'm not mistaken. But it probably was the early 2000s. Uh-oh. He said, now that's a tough question, especially after getting boonswoggled. Yeah, yeah. And so Kimberly says husband, kids, sister. In that order, Kimberly? You trust your kids before you trust your sister? So, okay. Hmm. So let me ask you guys another question. If you were a professional athlete, because I mean, we exhibit athletic prowess in our presence, right? Of course we do. If you were a professional athlete making tens of millions of dollars per year, would you want to manage your own taxes, your own bills, your own investments, or would you rather pay someone else a huge fee just to make the paperwork disappear so that you can focus on the game?
I don't trust anyone enough to do that. I would still have to know where, at least in general, where all the money's going.
I mean, always get your statements to your house, right? Always check the mail.
Yeah.
You would think. Now Mark is saying it wasn't him. It's been a long time though. Well, it had to be. Well, maybe it was 2010. Maybe I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I do have the wrong person, the wrong Mark. And Kimberly says it depends on the day between the sister and the kids. Okay, so now you all are level-headed, Stephanie and Thomas. So you're saying, yeah. I mean, if you trust somebody to do all that, you're gonna at least get your statements mailed to the house. But Thomas is like, I don't know if I trust that at all. Now, that's called a concierge lifestyle. So you want a guy who handles everything like a fixer, but we're not talking about the fixer that kind of, pews people, just the fixer who fixes your finances and all that other good stuff. Now, for three massive NBA stars, that guy was a guy named Daryl Cohen. And he was the managing director at Morgan Stanley. And he was kind of like the gold standard, the one that everybody wanted to be like. But it turns out Daryl, he wasn't necessarily fixing their finances. He was fixing their books to really be a playground for himself. So let's talk about this. So our timeline starts around 2017. Good old Daryl, he's at the top of the mountain. He's managing hundreds of millions of dollars. And his clients were some famous NBA stars. And these guys weren't just rich, they were the elite. And so Daryl's pitch to them was real simple. He was like, I'm more than a financial advisor. I'm family. You and me, we family. So he'd handle their mortgage payments, their credit card payments, even handle their charitable giving. And between 2017 and 2020, he moved about $13 million out of their accounts to benefit himself. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I know what you're thinking. How in the world could he move tens of millions of dollars? But before we even go there, let's just talk about what he did with the money. I know we usually save this part for the end, but this one is just this is a special case today, right? So one thing he did was he had a backyard oasis. He took nearly $58,000 to build a luxury backyard gym and a pool house at his own home. The other thing he did was he groomed his mansion. He made it real nice. He spent about $100,000 of his clients' cash on landscaping and grooming for his personal estate. And I mean world-class grooming.
It's a beautiful house.
Oh boy, it is. And you know what?
Yeah.
I lost my link with the picture. Send it to me so I can show everybody else. He also had what we would call a romantic bonus. He used their money to pay off credit card bills of one of his romantic partners or of his romantic partner. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say one of because I don't know how many he had. He also dropped $22,000 on a diamond ring.
Is that for the wife apologizing for the lover?
You know what? It's very possible. It is very possible. Heather, my friend, how are you? Good to see you. So yeah, it is very, very possible that was for, you know, the lover. So what do you
It
guys
was
think?
interesting that how they described, yeah, the other person, just a lover. That,
Couldn't find a name anywhere.
no, or in if it was like mistress or something like that, okay, but just lover, like what? Oh, sorry, that one kind of stood out to me.
Well, what was that old song by Stevie Wonder? I guess it was a part-time lover. Anybody remember that song? I know I'm terrible. I know. Somebody's gonna be Googling it right now. Oh yeah, I remember that. Part-time lover. Okay, I'll stop.
I think I heard that in the dentist's office once.
Okay. Now, it gets real interesting here because, okay, I'm stuttering a little bit because I'm trying to just figure out which one of the crazy things do we want to talk about next. So here's what I'll do. I said that he also handled charitable contributions for these guys. This is one that gets real sticky because imagine you're an NBA player and you've made it and you make tens of millions of dollars per year. And your goal is to try and help others who have dreams of being in the NBA. And so there's a charity, of course there is, that serves underprivileged populations so that you can now help them. And your financial advisor happens to know about this charity and decides to donate some of your money to this charity. Isn't that great?
That's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. It's 100% amazing. Unfortunately, the charity called, I forgot what it was called now. Darn it. Unfortunately, the charity, it was called Beast Basketball. Sorry. It was called Beast Basketball. Well, it was kind of a shell because it was an amateur youth program founded by one of our guys' associates. And so his associate's son and his son both played on the basketball team, but Cohen moved about $500,000 to this charity that he had
I
an
think I
interest
saw
in.
that he actually asked these athletes, or at least one of these athletes, "Hey, would you donate to this charity?" And he was like, "No, I'm not going to do it." And then he took the money and did it anyway.
Yep. And what they're saying is out of the 500,000, roughly about 238,000 never went to a jersey or a basketball court for kids, that it went directly into building that state-of-the-art gym that we talked about earlier in his backyard.
Did he have poor, underprivileged kids come over and play some basketball or work out in that gym? I mean,
You know, that's a good question, right? It's a fine line. You see, Heather remembers that song. So, Heather, we're the only ones that remember that song. You know what, though? You bring up a good point, though, Stephanie. Did he have underprivileged kids at his home playing on the basketball court? That cost a couple $100,000.
Someone tells
Now,
me kids are trying to sneak in to play on that basketball court.
probably so. Now, here's why that's important, though. Let's think about this. This is extremely important because, in all seriousness, when it comes to fraud, there are tactics that people use. And if you think about this, he used a three-pronged psychological attack to bypass their defenses. Notice the sports analogies there. Did you see what I did there? But no, seriously, think about it. The first thing was the vulnerability hook. Because if you think about it, most pro athletes have they want to do something bigger than themselves, right? So he said, hey, if you donate to this charity, this is helping out other generations of people. So that was kind of the vulnerability hook, doing this. Then they had the charity gaslighting, right? We have this charity here for you. You can donate to this charity and show everyone that you're a good person. But then they also did the one-stop shopping with them because, it's difficult to kind of try and deal with an accountant, a lawyer, somebody else. So he was the one-stop shop for them. And all of that kind of made them feel good.
I'm sure
Now,
the tax deduction didn't hurt either.
Heather said, we remember that song because we're old. Speak for yourself, Heather. I'm only
Oh,
I'm only 25. Backwards, that is. I mean, it's okay. Okay, so let me ask you guys, Stephanie, Thomas. I'm sure you guys have life insurance, right?
Sure.
Yep.
Well, and if you're an NBA player, wouldn't it just be fitting to have life insurance?
I don't know. After a season or two, if you're making good money, then no.
No, not at all.
I mean, your time in the sport could be so short. You don't know when, how long your body's going to hold out or how long you're going to stay on a team. So you gotta invest that money, make it last.
Ah, so we got two things going on here. To Thomas's point, there's a certain point where you make so much money, you may not even need life insurance because your people are taken care of. But to Stephanie's point, ooh, what happens if you pass too soon before you get a bunch of money? So now,
Yeah, that's where, yes, at first, absolutely you should have the policy. And also I'm sure they have policies about injuries and, covering the contracts and some of that. But then, yeah, once you get to a certain point, the point of a life insurance policy is to take care of your loved ones and your bills and all of that after you pass. So no, at one point I would no longer have one if I was, making millions.
fair point. So there's a special kind of insurance that you can get, and it's a high risk insurance for people in these high risk industries. But if you think the charity scam was the tip of the iceberg, let's talk about insurance. So, um, with the type of insurance that they had, it's almost like making a bet on how long someone is going to live, right? That's how life insurance works. You buy a life insurance policy, usually for someone who either you buy it young and you hold on to it, or you buy it for someone who's elderly. You pay their premiums, and when they pass, you collect the death benefit. Now, here's what these guys did to the NBA players. Cohen allegedly and an accountant convinced the players to buy some of these high risk policies. But what they didn't tell them was that the accountant actually uh, had ties to the firm that was selling the policies. And here's what they did: they bought the policies at a low price and then they flipped them, they upsold them to the NBA players. So not only did they have the base policy with the commission built in, they upsold them to the tune of a markup of about 200 to 300%.
Wow.
Now, it is alleged that the law firm made about $4.5 million of pure profit on the markups alone. What do you guys think about that?
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is insane. That is absolutely, that's gutsy. You hear sometimes about 10%. It's enough that maybe nobody will notice, but two or three times the amount. That's I don't know if that's
Okay.
gutsy or stupid.
Okay. So I'm going to poke the bear some just a little bit here because when we buy car insurance right now, we typically have to sign up through an agent. Now, historically, we had to go to an agent's office, establish a relationship, get an agent close to where we lived in our zip code for car insurance. But now you can just go online, type in a few numbers, and have insurance. So, isn't that kind of similar to what car insurance agents are doing to us? Because most of what we're paying is an upcharge for the agent, right?
Yeah, just
I
not.
mean,
Hopefully, not 300%.
you would hope it's not 300%, but but again, what percent are we okay with? Okay, never mind, that's a whole nother subject. Here's what I was about to say. You guys see where I was going with that, though. How much of a percent are we good with, considering that most of us don't walk into our insurance agent's office anymore? We've all but cut out the middleman, seriously.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the story, though, before I go off on one of my tangents. So they had the money from these NBA players. They funneled some of it to a charity and then some of it for their own personal benefit. They sold them insurance policies at a markup of 2 to 300%. When do we get to a point where the NBA players start to notice?
They may not know any better. Maybe they never had
Mm,
money before. All of a sudden, they have all this money, and they don't know what's normal, what's not normal.
Yeah, that's one thing I remember. What was it? I think it was ESPN's Broke series that they had a very long time ago now. There was I think it was an NBA player actually. He signed the contract, got a bonus check or a big signing check, and the owner came to him. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks later. Said, "Hey, are you gonna cash that check? Or are you gonna deposit it? We see that it's still kind of sitting out there." And the NBA player said, "I don't know how to open a bank account. I don't know what to do with the check. It's sitting in a drawer." So yeah, there's a lot that a lot of times athletes just don't know. So yeah, something like this, they wouldn't know red flags to even they wouldn't even know the red flags exist to watch for them.
fair
They
enough.
should
Fair
ask their
enough.
mom.
Now, in that same vein, in this case, there was one player. He wasn't an NBA player. He was a Major League Baseball player. He noticed that something was off, and he demanded his money back because he saw that his investments weren't getting the return that they should. And since, well, they didn't have his money, here's what they did. They reached into the account of one of the NBA players and borrowed, and I say borrowed in air quotes, $328,125 to pay back the baseball player. He didn't ask, he just moved the money through a sports agency and a law firm to pay him off and shut him up. So, what do you guys think about that?
It's almost like a Ponzi.
Right?
I'm glad the baseball player spoke up to get his own money back, but it's a little disappointing he didn't try to raise the red flag elsewhere. Or maybe he did and it fell on deaf ears.
Well, the thing is,
This
I'm
guy,
not sure if he knew. I think he knew
this
that
guy
his
is.
investments. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Sorry, this guy's got on his broker check through FINRA. You can see all the different disputes from customers. He's got things going all the way back to I think 2001, where there was an award judgment for something back then. So it's been going on a while. He's been at several different investing companies, including Wells Fargo and Merrill Lynch. So he's been around a long time.
Yeah. So now, for those who are listening that may not know, let's tell them what FINRA is. So FINRA is the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, and what it is It is the largest regulatory body. They oversee things like securities firms and brokerage firms. If you notice on some of the commercials where you see a lot of small print and fast talking, that's usually because someone has gotten in trouble with FINRA and are required to disclose certain things. So that's the regulatory body, and they can take away your license if you aren't doing uh, good things or if you are doing bad things. Now, Stephanie, you found him on FINRA.
I did indeed find him. So any person,
So,
if you've got a investment advisor, you can go on there and you can look up their name and see, do they have any, actions against them?
and didn't you find that his license was revoked? I mean, it should have been, but
He's permanently barred from acting as a broker or otherwise deal with any sort of broker dealer. His life is his profession is done.
well, yeah. I mean, and it'd be hard to move money from jail too. So that's just.
He's gonna have to start cleaning his own pool.
Mm, I, you know what? Yeah, nah, that one was too easy. I'm gonna let that one go. I'll let that one go. I don't want to do any prison jokes. Now, here's the thing, though. We were talking about why the baseball player didn't turn him in, but when it came to his investigation, when they were investigating him, there was a smoking gun. Um, while he was in the middle of draining the basketball player's account to pay off the baseball player, he sent a text message to his partner in crime, and um, he said something like, "We've got to send him more money to get rid of him." So at this point, he really wasn't an advisor, right? He was a guy juggling stolen purses in a dark alley, robbing Peter to pay Paul. So that was kind of a smoking gun that they found in his text messages that helped them during the investigation.
You wonder how how far they dug and how much more they could have found that was something like that. I mean, if they
Oh
they
yeah.
defrauded three NBA players, one baseball player that they caught, there's got to be a lot more than that.
And that's just why he was at his current employer. Imagine what he may have done while he was at Wells Fargo, because they're all super honest there.
But
I'm a
well,
little
and
I'm a little surprised he could get a job with Morgan Stanley, given his background.
mm, as you say that, you got me thinking. With the charges, I don't think they wouldn't that be considered well, no, that's not a bribe, is it? Or is it?
I was kind of wondering. I was wondering about that, but then also if he paid through these other companies like that, is that a form of money laundering?
Oh,
Potentially.
So yeah,
that's
it
a good
seems like
point.
there could have been a lot more charges than what they have going on here.
Oh yeah.
That is a good point. Okay, so listen now. The accountant that was working with him, he just went ahead and pled guilty, right? And so the head guy, he rolled the dice. He said, "You know what? I'm going to trial." And here's what happened. As of March the 3rd, which was what, 3 days ago, a federal jury in Manhattan returned a guilty verdict after a 5-week trial. So let's talk about his conviction. He was found guilty of wire fraud, right? That's always the one, and investment advisor fraud. The jury was actually hung on a third conspiracy charge. Um, and so with the wire fraud, it's a maximum of 20 years in prison, and the advisor fraud is a maximum of 5 years. And now he was also fined as well. I think he was fined. Was it 3 million or 5 million? I think he
I
was
did
fined.
see.
How many?
I didn't catch that part. I'm not sure.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. he was ordered to forfeit over $5 million in illicit proceeds. So I guess that's technically not a fine; it's more of a penalty. But yeah,
I do have to say, heads up to Morgan Stanley because it looks like based on his history on FINRA, that as soon as he had these complaints, they separated his employment. Same thing with Merrill Lynch way back in 2002. As soon as he had one single complaint, they disconnected his employment from there. Wells Fargo seemed to keep a hold of him for a while, about 12 years, with multiple complaints and settlements.
here's the thing that it makes you wonder though, because we've all seen like Wolf of Wall Street and all these movies where the golden child, the golden boy, or whatever you want to call them, they can do no wrong as long as they're bringing in a bunch of money. So did these companies allow him to stay because he was the person bringing in a ton of money?
Definitely possible. I mean, you hate to say it, but that's so true.
My man Gabe, how you doing, man? Gabe says, what is the best way to commit wire fraud? Asking for a friend.
Real estate.
You know what? You gotta Google it, Gabe. And what I want you to do is I want you to Google it on your home computer. Don't use a
That's right.
VPN. Oh boy, now Mark is saying it. Mark is saying the quiet part out loud. He says Wells Fargo is always so honorable.
Not that they don't have fantastic employees. There are a lot of people that work there that are really great people.
So look, Gabe has another question. Gabe says, how can I minimize potential prison time for white collar fraud? White collar crime. Gabe, aren't you live streaming tonight? I've got to crash your live stream. I have some fun things to say tonight. If you guys don't know Gabe, Gabe, what would you call it? Gabe does like a love and relationship podcast with his wife. And it's actually really good. I didn't mean to say actually. It's good.
Like you're surprised.
And no, I am not surprised. Gabe is a live streaming beast. Gabe is great. But yeah, so Mark is hitting it on Wells Fargo. It's the culture, not the people. Yeah. So I tell you what, so without going too far down a rabbit hole, this is what I always say about this case, because I use the Wells Fargo case a lot when I do my training presentations. What you have to really look at there is the CEO set a lot of unrealistic expectations. And what you incentivize is what gets done. And that's whether you are working at an organization or a parent trying to raise children, whatever you incentivize is what gets done. And he had this saying where he would say, 8 is great, meaning that they wanted every customer to have at least 8 banking products. And so what I always say is, how many of you have 8 banking products at your current financial institution? Because think about it, that would be like a checking account, a savings account, a money market account, a CD, life insurance, car insurance, a mortgage, and I'm only at 7. I can't even think of an 8th just yet. I'm sure it'll pop up in a minute, but
Line of credit.
there you go, a
Credit
line of
card.
credit. Yeah, credit card. There we go. So that's what 8, 9 there. So if that is what you have built the business around and that's what you've communicated out to everyone is the expectation, why would you be surprised when people start doing things to meet your expectation? Now, that doesn't excuse their individual actions, but back to Mark's point, it's the culture.
Yep.
That's a quick snippet from one of Robert Berry's training courses. You know, I like to use examples and real world scenarios, but realistically, when you start thinking about the psychology behind the things that we do, you'll notice it's much bigger than the one person that committed the fraud. There are other things that go into it. Again, not to excuse the individual's actions, but there's a lot of stuff that goes into it.
Well, and that's what I'm wondering about with this case. What do we not know yet? You know, what else is there that hasn't been dug up or they just didn't investigate or haven't told us they've been investigating? It feels like there's a
Yeah.
lot more going on here than just one guy doing this.
It seems like it. Well, we know it was the one guy and then his accountant friend or lawyer friend. Was he an accountant or a lawyer? You know, but now Mark is saying for Gabe, was Gabe asking about wire fraud ideas for himself or for his wife? And Gabe is saying, yes, love and relationship teaching is what he would classify their show.
Nice.
It's tonight at 8 o'clock, isn't it, Gabe? Or 7 o'clock? Or tonight, right? Friday. Today, Friday.
What
We
time
do it
zone?
more. Oh, Central. Yeah, Central. Gabe lives in Dallas.
We'll forgive him for that.
So, yeah, and Mark's hit another point though. But the sign of an unrealistic leader who is insulated from support team that would hold him accountable. Yeah, yeah.
A lot of times, the people that report up to these folks they're afraid to tell them, it's not realistic, or to go against the grain because they want to keep their jobs.
Ah, so yeah, surrounded by a bunch of yes men and women, right? So let's think about this and tie it back to the case today. Think about the red flags that were there. There were several that I kind of came up with. You kind of had the yes man echo chamber, right? So Cohen positioned himself as the guy who made problems go away. And so if your advisor handled everything for you, you have zero friction. You just say yes to them. If you don't have at least one other independent person, then your advisor can do whatever it is that they want to do. The other thing is, there was kind of like back to Thomas's point earlier. Thomas said some of them don't know how to manage finances. Thomas gave a story about an NBA player who got an athlete who got a huge check but didn't know how to deposit it into a bank account. That is what they did with these people. They filled them with a bunch of jargon. They sold them, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, viatical settlements as an insurance policy. Who knows what that is? I have no idea what that is until I saw this case, right?
Yeah.
And so they're hard to understand. But the thing is, if you can't explain the investment to a 10-year-old in 3 sentences, then you probably shouldn't buy it. These complex products, they're just, the short, they're the quick road to financial ruin. And then the other thing they did was they did the moral gaslighting. You know, think about it. He told him that he was going to help a charity for underprivileged children. One basketball player refused, a few others didn't, but they tried to use the moral gaslighting to get them.
I'll bet you had a bunch of these guys, come over to his house and schmooze him. They're looking at his house, like, man, he must be doing something right.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't they listen to him?
Yeah. You make a really good point because, if you're a player and you're making a whole lot more than your broker and your broker's living lavish, then your mind is going to say, they must be a really good broker if they could afford this house. Because I know I make more money than them, but yet they're living lavishly. So they must be able to double and triple my money. Yeah. That's a really good point.
That house is something else. $3 million is the zestimate for the house.
Oh yeah, we got to show the house. Hold on, I forgot. Stephanie sent me the house. What was
It
I
was built
thinking?
2004, so it's in Chatsworth, California. Almost an acre and a half, and it's over 5,000 square feet. 5 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, and of course everything out, like their outdoor kitchen.
Yeah, this thing is a beauty. I mean, it is a complete beauty. So this is the house. Oh, it's off the market.
It's not currently listed. I'm guessing he may have to, sell it to pay back some of this money.
Oh, for sure. For sure. But look at this thing. Look at the columns. Oh,
Gorgeous.
oh, look at that
Woodwork. I
rug. That
mean, it's
rug alone
just
is. Look at that. Now I don't know about the taste in furniture though. This looks like what is that? That looks like
the
is that a
outdoor
cabinet?
kitchen's pretty cool. You see the pool and the basketball court before the makeover.
Oh yeah, this is. Hmm, that's a nice grandfather clock. Look at that. Okay, wait. This room is too big for a TV this small.
You need the one over the fireplace. He probably has a home theater, so
Bowling alley and all that good stuff, right? Hmm. Now this bathroom looks rather small.
it's probably about oh, tiny
Oh,
bathroom.
never mind. Here's the big bathroom right here. Never mind. That was probably the guest bathroom for like Jeffrey.
The overhead shot of the property is pretty cool too. You can see, I don't know if they have like a garden, the
Now
pool, and the
imagine if your
basketball
patio
court.
looked like this.
That's nice.
Look at that grill. Oh, an outdoor fire pit, huh? I mean, because why not, right? Yeah.
Why not?
Oh, there it is. There's one of the basketball courts. Look at that. Oh, I probably should have done that to start
I
with.
think that was probably before the makeover from the looks of it, because it looks a little worn.
I'm with Heather. The artwork is weird. Mark
Yep.
says he was doing something right with their money. I,
Oh yeah.
yeah, that artwork was weird.
Another way to launder money, artwork, jewels.
Oh, look at that. Nice little garden where you can grow your own food. Oh, that looks peaceful.
It's nice, that's for sure. I wouldn't cry if I had to live there.
No, no. Oh, oh.
Cabana.
What that-
I have
Okay.
those birds. I got those at Costco
Oh,
for like
wow. Look
30
at
bucks.
that.
So
That's a nice little house.
Yeah, that's a nice layout there.
nice. How many of his clients' money went, how much of his clients' money went into that? A little here, a little there. Over 24 years has been his career.
Oh,
Yeah, that is insane. Okay. Did we miss anything? There was a lot in this one. I just did we miss anything? We talked about the mini Ponzi scheme. We've talked about the the payoff, robbing Peter to pay Paul. Um,
Yeah, a little
what kind of prison time is he facing?
up to 20 years on the wire and up to 5 on another charge that I forgot what that one was.
I wonder if the NBA players can have a civil case against him as well.
Well, it looks like there were
Ooh.
settlements to the client complaints in the FINRA. So it
Okay.
shows like a damage amount. So there's one allegation from 2024 that shows a damage amount requested of almost 1.2 million, but the settlement $275,000. It's like
Wow.
guessing they could find something to sue him civilly for, but we'll see what's left.
Oh, hold on just 1 second. Um let me check something, and if I can find the source and verify that this is actually true, you're gonna really trip out on this other thing. I had it in my notes and I'd forgotten about it, and now I'm like, oh wait a minute. Um, Okay. Um, I can't verify that this is 100% accurate. So I'm going to say it with a caveat. Wait a minute. Hold on. I think I may have found the source for it. Hold on. Okay, got it. So one of his athletes was um, applying for a membership at an elite country club. And as a part of the vetting process, the club asked for a list of his charitable donations for the year, just standard stuff. And so the player called a client associate and he asked, "Hey, can you pull a tally of my donations?" He said he needed to show the club that he was a good citizen. The associate pulled the report, and when he saw the 500,000 that he gave to Beast Basketball, he was surprised. He said he'd never heard of the organization, and so that one phone call was one of the loose threads that kind of unraveled a lot of this.
Interesting. It's
Now you
fun.
can see why I didn't want to say that until I could look really verify, like, is this
Yeah.
real?
So if you are wealthy enough to have someone managing all of this cash for you, it sounds like just simply asking, it's almost like what we tell normal people to do, check your bank statements. Something kind of similar. Check your bank statements, ask for a list of charitable contributions you've made, just little things like that, which is not hard, is not time consuming, but just asking some of those questions will, uncover a major scheme sometimes.
Even the normal
What is
people, I mean, you can go onto your bank's app, you can say, okay, I want to be notified if anything over X amount gets moved out of my bank account. I mean,
Yep.
maybe my number might be, $50, $100. Maybe his number's like, oh, if anything over, 100 grand, let
Yeah.
me know.
Yep.
well, what's the old saying? Little things mean a lot.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I really feel bad for these players because they had a lot of money taken from them. But even more important, um, it was someone that they trusted, because what he did too was he would call them family. He would say, "Hey, look, we're family. I'm here for you." And that kind of psychological damage is hard to heal from. They'll probably never trust anybody with their money again.
Well, I will say, if any company ever tells me we're a family, that's normally a red flag that I don't want to work there. That, and if they've won one of those best places to work awards, that's always a red flag.
Oh goodness,
Sometimes, not always.
that's
Employers won a
hilarious.
lot of awards, and that's well deserved.
All right, so if you just joined us, go back and listen to the rest of the episode. Today we talked about um, a wealth advisor who was able to swindle a lot of money out of some professional athletes. Um, he has been found guilty. One of his co-conspirators actually pled guilty. So hopefully the NBA players and the baseball players will get their money back. There were some twists and turns in this episode. If you missed them, we're not going to recap those here. Just go back and listen to them. That's all I've got for this week. You guys, anything else?
I think we said it all.
I will say, not about this article, but if you're not following Rob or myself or both of us on LinkedIn, you might want to do so, because in the next couple of weeks we have some big announcements coming from 21st Century Audit. So we've been working real hard behind the scenes, and we're ready to. I'm chomping at the bit to make announcements, and Rob's like, not yet, not yet. So stay tuned, but we've got some big stuff coming for internal audit departments.
Yes, we do. We'll actually have full commercials on the podcast. Hey, look, here's what's here. Well, that's all I've got. Thank you all for joining us this week. We will see you next week, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, adjust for your time zone. Don't ask me to do that for you. See you next week.